Video 2, Choosing Your Funding Program for Dual Enrollment. This video describes the two funding programs that are available to dual enrollment students. You'll need to designate a funding program at your advising session. Because the funding program you choose impacts both the courses you can take and how many courses you take, we want both students and parents to watch this video to help you make an informed decision together. We are very fortunate in the state of Georgia to have two funding programs for dual enrollment students, the Excel program and the Move On When Ready program. What these programs have in common is that they both are more generous than Hope and Zell Miller scholarships because they pay 100% of tuition and all or significantly reduced student fees. Neither program is needs-based, which means they're available to families of all income levels. Neither program taps a student's hope, so you will still get full hope benefits after high school graduation. And it's important to understand that you have to complete a new funding application every semester that you're a dual enrollment student. The deciding factors in choosing a funding program include whether you attend a public high school, whether you want to attend KSU full-time or part-time, whether you want to take any classes in elective areas outside of high school core curriculum subjects, and it's important to remember that at your March advising session, you'll be choosing your funding for fall semester only. Public school students have flexibility to switch programs each semester, for instance, using Excel funding in the fall, but Move On When Ready funding in the spring, or vice versa. First, let's take a closer look at the Excel program. Almost all dual enrollment students are eligible for Excel, including students from public schools, private schools, and homeschooled students. If you attend a private school or are homeschooled, Excel is the only funding program that you are eligible to use. You can be part-time or full-time at KSU and use Excel, so from a minimum of one class per semester to a maximum of all of your classes, typically 5 classes, all of those can be paid for by Excel. You do have to meet Georgia residency requirements, which are identical to those for the Hope Scholarship. Complete Excel guidelines are accessible from georgiacollege411.org. Excel pays only for courses in high school core subjects, including English, math, science, economics, foreign languages, and social studies. It will not pay for courses that are considered electives by the high school, such as arts, business, computer science, health, or PE courses. If you need health or personal fitness to graduate from high school and you choose the Excel program, you could take those courses at KSU, but you'd have to pay for them out of pocket. In the advising handbook that you'll receive at your advising session, you'll have a current list of all the Excel courses funded at KSU. Excel is funded by an appropriation from the state legislature. We don't anticipate that Excel funding amounts will change for next year, but because the legislature is still in session, that's always a possibility. We'll have confirmation of funding amounts in May after the state budget is finalized, and if anything has changed, we'll notify you by email. Similarly, KSU's tuition and fees are not set until later this spring after the state colleges are given their budgets. So what we share in this presentation are cost figures based on what our students are currently paying this school year. Again, if anything should change, we will notify you by email. Excel pays for 100% of your college tuition, and in addition to that, KSU caps mandatory student fees at $171 per semester. So as an Excel student, you would owe $171 each semester, whether you're taking one class or 5 classes, and you'd also pay for your textbooks and any lab fees. Our bookstore recommends that parents budget an average of $100 per course $100 for their college textbooks. And if you're taking a science class, you can expect a $35 lab fee. If you take English 1101, our introductory English course, there is a $20 lab fee for use of our writing center. Now let's take a look at the other funding program, Move On When Ready. Move On When Ready is funded by the Georgia Department of Education. It is only for public school students who've attended a Georgia public school for the past 12 months prior to their start in dual enrollment. You must attend KSU full-time and not take any classes for credit at all at your high school under Move On When Ready. A full-time enrollment at KSU is a minimum of 12 credits, typically 4 classes. Even though you're not taking classes at your high school, you can continue to participate in extracurricular activities there as a Move On When Ready student. Move On When Ready pays for all of the Excel courses in academic subjects, plus because the Department of Education recognizes that students required to come to the college full-time may also need electives, it also pays for selected elective courses in accounting, the arts, computer science, criminal justice, culinary arts, health, and PE. Move On When Ready pays 100% of tuition for 12 credits and 12 credits only. You have to pay for any credits that are over 12 at the current tuition rate. This year that is $169.93 per credit. Move On When Ready also pays for 100% of your mandatory fees. So if you're taking exactly 12 credits, your only costs are for textbooks and lab fees. If we do a side-by-side cost comparison of Excel and Move On When Ready, you can see that if a student takes exactly 12 credit hours, they'll save $171 by choosing Move On When Ready. If they take 13 credit hours, their cost is nearly identical. But at 14 credit hours or more, Excel becomes less expensive. There are some other considerations to weigh. With Excel, if you find that you're struggling in a class at midterm, your high school counselor may have flexibility, depending on school district policies, to let you withdraw from the class. With Move On When Ready, there is no flexibility. You cannot withdraw from a class and go below 12 credits. If you do that, you have to withdraw from all of your college classes and return to the high school. You don't have to make a final decision about your funding program until you've come to your advising session and built your class schedule. We can help you make a decision based on the number of credits in your schedule and whether you're taking elective courses. Approval by your high school counselor is required after your advising session and prior to class registration. After your financial aid has been processed in August, you will be locked in to either Excel or Move On When Ready and can't switch funding programs. Again, right now we are just concerned with choosing your funding program for fall semester, and you'll choose your funding for spring semester in October. We'll provide complete instructions for applying for Excel and Move On When Ready at your advising session. So please do not apply until you've come to your advising session and heard those instructions from us. You're now ready to learn more about building your college class schedule in Video 3.